I said, hey, hey, welcome to the Man Cave Happy Hour. I said, hey, hey, welcome to the Man Cave Happy Hour. We're gonna drink a fine whiskey and smoke a really fine cigar.
It is time for Happy Hour. It is the Man Cave Happy Hour. Whiskey, cigars, spirits, the stories that go along with it. I'm Jamie Flanagan.
I'm August Gitschlag.
August.
Jamie, there's no Matt today.
There's no Matt today.
That means these two are going to be the butt of all my jokes now.
We've tagged in, and I don't know if you guys know it or not, but you guys are affectionately known as the Men in Black. It is because
along with Tulio,
they show up. They show up. They get the job done, and I usually don't remember a damn thing.
Yeah, there you go.
Poof. Poof. Did you know that we refer to you as the Men in Black?
It has come up from time to time.
Fair play.
The Men in Black are here.
All right, Keith and Chris have jumped in because we got some just a taste today. We got some fun tasting. We're looking at the Navy and the Marines today. We're talking to it. Well, we're all four branches.
All branches are involved. Yeah.
There's a little bit of a spoiler, but today specifically speaking about with the Navy and the Marines, we have a couple very special guests, and we have a very special bottle to try. It's Four Branches. We were posting some,
as in like Four Branches of the military, right?
Four Branches of the military. Four Branches Bourbon, and
right.
With us today we got Harold. And Rick, gentlemen, welcome to the Man Cave.
Hey, thank you for having us.
Glad to be here.
Super excited, honored. Thank you for your service. Let's start with that, of course. And
are you talking about for making whiskey or
thank
for
you.
their
and thank you for the bottle,
yeah.
especially as well. But
yeah, where are you guys coming from today? Where are you guys at?
I'm out of I'm coming to you out just outside Nashville in Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
All right.
And I'm in a Navy town. I'm in Virginia Beach, Virginia.
All right.
Okay. I've been to both those places. I've been to Murfreesboro and I've been to Virginia Beach.
So all right. So Rick, you got to Franco. How does not everybody just call you Franco? Does everybody just call you Franco? Is that just it?
In the old days, they did.
Yeah. I got a buddy Frank, and that was it. Franco. So anyway, but when I saw your name, I was like, just rattling.
It's a military name.
It
works.
Brain, but Rick comes from the experience with some crazy experience with the Marine Corps. And
yeah, both you guys, your bios look like characters out of the Lioness show on Paramount Plus. It's impressive. And then now they're making whiskey. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
And doesn't really get better than that, does it?
Yes. Yeah. Harold in the Navy. Harold, but you're one of the founders. There was a couple of guys that founded this. So Harold, we're gonna start with you. Harold, tell me about your childhood.
All right. Well, hey, I grew up in a little town called Mount Holly, North Carolina. You know, you probably heard of Belmont, Mount Holly, about 30 minutes south of 85 from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay.
Grew up and, in high school, if you had asked me, well, hey, I played football, I played pee-wees, midget ball, played baseball, little league baseball. And, growing up, it was like, just get through school, right? Get through high school, then try to figure out what you want to do. And about the 10th grade, I figured, hey, I wanted to be a North Carolina Highway Patrol, state trooper. So what I did was, after I finished my high school, graduated at East Gaston High School back in '79, which was a little while back. I started taking some courses in, med tech type stuff, getting my EMT certification. And also I was in a community college, Gaston College, doing a criminal justice degree, associate's degree in that. And hopefully that would help me ramp up to go into, highway patrol, law enforcement. But at the same time, I was in the National Guard. Oh. So I had a little bit of time with my friends. We joined. We had a recruiter come in and, signed us up. We wanted to get out of town, go see some places. So we went into Army National Guard, did 4 years in the Army Guard, and went over to the Air Guard. They had flight medics on these C-130s in Charlotte at the time. So I did that for 4 years, and I did the whole interview process, the physical test and all that stuff for the highway patrol. But for whatever reason, they had like a full shutdown of the academy up in Raleigh, North Carolina, because of, whatever the case, right? But they shut the academy down for about 2 years, 2.5 years. And that was the time that I was ready to go, right? I was ready to go do something.
The one time in history they weren't hiring police officers.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So with that being said, my patience were wearing a little thin. I read an article in a Sunday Reader's Digest type of magazine that said the caption was, "Are the Navy SEALs the toughest men alive?" And I continued to kind of read that article, and it had some pictures in there of guys climbing underneath barbed wire, doing the O course on the beach. And I went, wow, let me check this out. This is in San Diego, Coronado, where they do, the basic underwater demolition school, BUDS. So I was either going to go fly helicopters for the Army or go Navy SEAL. And back then, Navy SEALs is not, as far as people know about us a lot more. So I basically, the Army wanted me to do that, but the Army was not going to send me right to Rucker to fly helicopters. They wanted me to go to Army Ranger School and then go. I had a buddy that was a Ranger, and he says, don't do it. He said, once they get you in a Ranger battalion, they won't let you go until about 4 years. So that kind of, give me I give the Heisman to the Army and joined the Navy to be a SEAL. And back then they didn't have a program. We didn't have a guaranteed contract. What you had to do is join the Navy, pick a rate, go in, and then you got to, try out for the Navy SEAL program once you get to boot camp. Made it through the training, right? So I was sent out to Coronado, BUDS Class 152, and started my Navy career, back in '87, going through, BUDS. So
you ended up being Command Master Chief in the SEALs. That's pretty awesome. So what brought you to there to team up and get into the spirits industry after you were done with your service?
Well, once I retired in 2015, I started working in the security safety realm. I had a job out of Roswell, Georgia, that did that for about 3 years. The company that I was working for got acquired. I worked for the bigger company for about probably 9 months, and they said, hey, we're paying you too much money. So they let me go. I had a signed agreement where they paid me for a year of that, right? And then as I was sitting home, I got a phone call from a retired Captain SEAL buddy of mine. He said, hey, dog, would you be interested in going to the Bahamas and working a project down there? It's a restoration project for Baker's Bay Resort, golf and resort down in Bahamas, Abacos. And I went, well, let me go take a look at it. So I flew down and checked it out. And that's when I met Rick. Rick was actually at the pier, running security for Baker's Bay at the time. And me and Rick talked all the way across the water because we had to catch a ferry to get over to Baker's Bay. So, and then met Rick. We hung out. We lived in a house. This gentleman was nice enough to he wanted security to stay in his house because it was post, Dorian, the storm that, the Hurricane Cat 5.
Okay.
All right.
So he wanted us in there to make sure his house was secure. And also we lived there for what, Rick, about a year?
About a year.
So me and Rick's been, pretty good buddies, and we realized that our paths, our boot prints had probably crossed each other, whether it was in Iraq or Afghanistan, all over the world, really. And it was Rick's idea, and I'll let Rick tell you how we started Four Branches. But I met Rick down there. I met Mike Trott as well. He's the Air Force CIA guy, founder, and then we brought RJ in. But
yeah. So after the military, Rick, you too went into the safety and security field, and then you guys. So what brought you to the spirits, Rick?
Yeah. So, after my time in the military, I then transitioned to the CIA for a long time as a contractor.
Wow. Thank you again. Geez.
Did about 12 years. Over there, lots of different areas in a unit. And I tell people, look, guys, when you hear voices in your head, I'm going to tell you right now, please don't listen to about 99% of them. They're probably not good. But every now and then one voice will shine through the darkness, and it'll speak some truth, and that's the one you should listen to. So what drew me in was about, I guess, Harold West, we're going on 4 years now, really, since inception. So about 4 years, driving home from the day job, still have one. One of these voices popped in the head and said, "Hey, you should do a barrel of bourbon for the guys in the old unit, right, with the agency." And I thought, this will be the easiest thing in the world. I've got a really good printer at home. Put some stickers on some bottles, and we can sell that on Facebook. I'll be sold out in 20 minutes. Apparently, Uncle Sam won't let you sell bourbon on Facebook.
Yeah, he can't do that on eBay.
Who knew, right? That's what you get when the Marine starts coming up with ideas.
Yeah.
So, the intent was to give back and honor what Harold has coined the unsung shadows, right? So this all started as original tribute to a good buddy of mine that we were cadets together at Virginia Military Institute. We were Marine officers doing stupid second lieutenant stuff down at Lejeune. And then I got out and got into the CIA, and I recruited him in. I vouched for him and recruited Greg into the agency. And then 19 years ago this year, actually this month, December, Greg went on his first mission to Iraq and saved everyone's life, but Greg didn't come home. And then I had to bring Greg home. And Greg was given a star on the wall at Langley. Everyone's seen the star wall at the movies, if you haven't been there. And so that was a big deal because up until then, no contractor, we were contractors from our unit, had ever been given a star on the wall. So it was rather significant. I had like 1,200 people at Greg's funeral. And so it was to honor these unsung shadows, just like today is the 9-year anniversary of the Coast bombing.
Okay.
The largest loss of CIA officer and security life in one instance down the coast.
That's why I was not being glib when I was saying thank you, because you guys do hard, dangerous work, and we need it. So thank you. But thank you.
Green Beret, Master Sergeant, Navy SEAL, another Marine. So today's, like I said, I started this to honor those shadows, right? And,
all right. So when you figured out you weren't breaking laws, how'd you come up with you're like, okay, we got to do this legally.
Yeah.
How'd you get the juice? Where'd you go for that?
If you're not afraid to pick up the phone, make some cold calls. Literally, I cold called. First person I cold called, or first place that would return my call, was I ended up talking to a guy at Bardstown Bourbon Company.
Yeah. Okay.
He picked. Finally, someone answered the call. It's Justin Harold at Bardstown Bourbon Company, and I remember vividly. I was sitting in the cell phone waiting lot, waiting to get the in-laws at the airport. Right. So I
not the call you're expecting then, huh?
So I managed to get through, and we started chatting, and I kind of tell him a little bit of our story. I was like, "Hey, man," and I was telling him I was a veteran, and we were talking. He goes, "I was a veteran too," and so he had been in the Army. So right there's that bond. Doesn't matter whether you're in the Coast Guard, Air Force, it doesn't matter. There's that bond of service that you can kind of lean on with one another. So I kind of pled the case, and he's like, "Look, right now we're full, but if you call these numbers, then they might be able to help you out with what you're looking for." So he gave me 3 phone numbers of bourbon brokers, secondary market bourbon brokers. The first number didn't pick up. The second number picked up, and it was Jeff Hotmayer from the Brindiamo Group. Jeff's probably the Brindiamo Group's probably the number 1 bourbon broker in the world, sitting on close to 250,000 barrels of bourbon.
Crazy.
Right. So here I am in my home office on the phone with a guy I've never met. And, the world that Harold and I and RJ and Mike come from, everything is really compartmentalized, right? Come from that secret world. So here we think we have this amazing idea. And I tell Jeff, I was like, well, hey, sir, before we talk any further, I'll send you over an NDA to sign. And he's like, yeah, you know what? I don't do NDAs. We can stop right now. I was like, funny you mentioned that, nor do we today. We kept the conversation going. And then 2 days later, he invited us. I mean, this guy had never met us, invited us over to his house and adamantly tried to talk us out of going into the bourbon business.
Talk you out of it. Yeah.
Talk us out of it.
Fair enough.
So that's how we got started, right? So it started with Jeff. He then helped us purchase our first barrels for our first blending, 3,000 cases.
Oh, wow.
And then we got in with Bardstown, and we bottle and blend there. And we actually, this past summer, laid down 500 new fill barrels of our own. That'll be fantastic in about 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Long range.
The short story is it was luck and maybe a little bit of fate going in there, like that we're on the right path. These doors keep opening.
I love this. I love this story. I want to taste the bourbon. So is this like the first iteration, or have you guys, how did you come up with, because there's a 4 grain, right? So you got the corn, wheat, barley, and rye, 4 branches, 4 grains. I like that symbiosis there. So what brought you to this? Is this the first iteration that we have here? We got the Founders Blend.
That's right. Go ahead, Harold.
Yeah, I was trying to see the labels at the top.
Hold it right up to the camera.
Yeah, hold it closer. Yep, that's OG, we call it. That's original grains right there.
All right. Okay.
OG original grains. Love it.
All right. Coming in at 96 proof, which is nice. It's not your basic 80, but it's not blowing your head off either.
Right.
I got to
pop. Hey, I love
pop the top on
I'm a big fan of blended whiskey. Like these, the single barrel 114 proofs, they end my night a little too quick. The blendeds, look, they're always smooth. They always are the same, right? Because they have a master blender doing this stuff. So nice. I got the nice sound of the cork coming out.
Yeah.
You feel okay if you have to mix it also? It's not as bad.
Yeah.
So lesser proof.
So how do you select the blend actually? Once you get with the broker, and how does the selection process go?
So we knew one thing we knew is we wanted to go over 4 years. So we didn't have to put an age statement on the bottom.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Right. So, and then when we were at Bardstown, Harold, myself, Mike, and RJ, and we were there blending, we had the very fortunate luck that the master distiller for Bardstown, Steve Nally, who's a Hall of Famer, he was at Maker's Mark.
He's the man.
He was, so you guys know where his past and his lineage.
He's come up on the podcast before.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we were in there, and they were like, guys, the blenders that we were with were like, guys, Steve is going to show up and he's just going to kind of say, hey. Well, he comes in. I think Harold and I must have been jostling around or giving each other shit or giving everyone else shit. And he's like, who are you guys? And we tell him a little bit of the story in the background, kind of what we're doing. And he looks at his assistant who was with him, was like, clear the schedule. And looks at us and says, rolls his sleeves up, says, boys, let's make some bourbon.
Oh, nice.
And then Harold was actually the very first taster to approve our blend. It's a great story. I'll let Harold tell the story of how it all came and why 4 grains.
Yeah, well, as we were, standing there with Steve right beside us, and he's looking, and he goes, well, hey, he says, you've got a 70-20-10 blend, right? Corn, rye, and malted barley. He says, you guys are 4 branches, so why don't we put 4 grains in it? So there's not that many 4 grains out there. So we kind of looked at each other and went, he's kind of like the master guy here. So that sounded pretty good to us, right? So he said, okay, so let's move forward. He told Dan is the blender there at Bardstown, and he said, hey, put 5% wheat in this. And he did 5%, and we were tasting it. And of course, we had these little tiny, like little thimble size, glasses. And we were tasting it. Well, that's good. That's really good. And he goes, and then Steve goes, well, let's bump it up to 10% of aged wheat. So what we have, our mash bill right now is 65 corn, 15 rye, 10 malted barley, and 10% wheat, but the wheat is aged. So what we did was brought in around 6 to 7 year old barrels that we got from Wilderness Trail to blend in with our MGP, 21 rye barrels. And then once we hit that, and then after standing around in the chemistry room, and he got that 10%, he go, okay, this is nice. And they're working it over there, like chemists do. And they poured it out and they had it in a nice little glass. And they mentioned the fact that, hey, this is for all four of you to taste. And of course that went right in one ear and went out the other ear with me. And he handed me the little glass, a little shot, smaller than a shot glass, really. And I smelled it. And, oh boy, this is really good. Boom. And then, I just basically took the whole thing and then, chewed on it, right? Chewed on the juice and rolled it back. Oh, man, that's really good. And all the other guys, Rick, and Mike, and RJ looking at me like, well, you just did. And then, Dan looks at me and goes, well, I'm going to have to go back to the lab. I got to pull some more wheat, aged wheat out.
Harold was like, man, this is really good, guys. And we're all in a line. I'm like, that's amazing, but we won't know. And it's like, damn it, Harold. We had quite a laugh, and we do have a T-shirt eventually that will come out with a "Damn it, Harold."
Damn,
there
Harold,
you go.
you're supposed
Damn
to
it,
share
Harold.
that.
Nice.
I'm like, I've been on the nose on this. It's like I'm getting that the vanilla. I haven't tried it yet, but it's not hurting my nose, and it's like the vanilla. But I'm getting a little cherry almost, like a vanilla, not a strong cherry, but that's what I'm getting out of it. And then a little, the vanilla maple barrel vanilla that you get. But that smells nice. I gotta get
it in your mouth.
I gotta get
That's
it in
the
my
next
mouth.
step. We're here to drink the stuff.
I
buddy.
gotta taste it, gentlemen. Thank you.
Can I say Semper Fi?
You can.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
I love a blend that has that vanilla bean smell to it right when you start. That's always like one of my favorite things that hit my nose when I'm bringing it in.
Wow, that hits all the right spots.
Yeah. You gotta.
Is this on the shelves in Michigan?
It is not on the shelves in Michigan.
Okay, so this is an order. We got online order. So we'll share all that action so that we can get that out. So how many states are you guys on the shelves in now?
Seven. More.
Yeah.
7? Okay.
Yeah.
What's
We're
the
Tennessee, Kentucky, Arizona, Florida, Virginia, DC, and Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully in 25 we'll expand.
Did I see mail order to 32 states?
That's correct.
Oh, that is nice.
I eventually got to get to the point where you got to make enough juice to get it to all the states. So you got to grow.
There you go.
Gotta
Especially
grow
before
supply.
we jump into Texas or California. The
Right,
bigger markets.
What's the price point you're looking at?
It
For
ranges
retail?
anywhere between 74 and 88.
Okay.
This is like really. There's like the legs on this is crazy. It's like there's a lot of viscosity to it. There's it's hanging on. It's hanging on. It's hanging in there. Not in a bad way.
Yeah, I can. As I like to say, I'll fuck with this. This is something I can keep. That I would open up and have the friends try, and one of the better ones we've had on the podcast, honestly.
Delicious.
Good. Glad to hear that.
Yeah.
this-
Sometimes they're young, and this doesn't taste young at all.
It's because they blended it.
Well,
And
yeah,
they knew what they wanted to do, and they weren't trying to force a product onto the market that they were, just put a label on and sourced it out of somewhere and said, "Hey, it's this." They actually took time to blend it.
So everything in here is 4 years plus, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, there you go. So not young.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
And look, Harold will tell you, and so will the other guys. As a veteran-owned company, you can come out with something that could taste like dog shit, and people will buy it once because we're supporting a veteran-owned company.
Well, that was my experience in the past with veteran-owned spirits.
Right. So they'll buy it once, and then they'll never get bought again. Like you said about our careers, Harold's got a career. He's very humble. That overshadows all of ours. But we knew that what we were going to come out and put our names to had to be worthy of our names and our careers. But more importantly, had to be worthy of the names of those that didn't come home.
Wow.
Right. So that's why we take it really serious to produce something that is super high quality, something people like. I'm sure Harold could tell you he's done a gazillion tastings that you'll have a non-bourbon drinker come and start drinking it because they're like, oh shit, I can drink this. This is really good.
Yeah, this isn't some single barrel. Let's blow your taste buds out of your face. 114 proof.
Yeah.
Buy it once and never buy it again bottle. This is a tasty sipper.
Yeah.
Which is what I look for. Something I'm going to buy twice.
And that's the thing we talked to a lot of people and that make a lot of things. And the thing is, you're going to sell one bottle. You're going to sell that first bottle.
Sure. That's the celebrity booze, all that stuff. They're going to sell one,
crazy
George
package,
Clooney, something or other. Yeah.
Crazy bird on the cork stopper.
Like, I'll never buy a bottle of blends.
Yeah.
And that's why we didn't go so militarized with our logo. We spent a lot of time on that logo, and we can explain that. That 4 is not just a number. You look at that 4, and the bottom of that 4's got an arch on it, right? That's a foundation mark. So that foundation mark is like what you would see on a ridge line on a map, right? So that's U.S. Army. That foundation is U.S. Army 1775, first founded DOD, right, service. And then going up the center there, and the big piece in the center is like what you would see from a shoreline on a Navy mast of a ship or a con of a submarine coming out of the water. That's U.S. Navy.
Nice.
Horizontally coming across is like a bayonet knife affixed to a rifle or a sword, representing the U.S. Marine Corps, the leanest and meanest. Rick, I'll give you that. The leanest. And then the swoop up from left going up is U.S. Air Force, because the Air Force covers us down with all their air power, right? And then you see in the middle of it's got a black spear coming down, but you can only see a half of that spear. The piece that you can see is for our men and women, honoring our men and women that are still serving around the globe today for our freedom. And I've got 2 sons that are active duty Navy. And the piece that is missing is for our fallen. So
there you go.
Wow.
So I just threw the still up. So if people, because it's an audio podcast, but it streams out on YouTube and Facebook too, so people can see that logo. I was holding it up, but I got that shaky, blurry focus.
yeah, I'm with you.
Well, we got a great video on our site that actually pulls it all together, and it's filmed in like the old World War II style.
Oh, okay.
All right.
It really lays it out.
I love that.
It builds out to 4.
I see it now that you say all those elements. I totally see them in there. And I was like, when I got the bottle, I was like, oh, that's a very cool font, because I teach journalism, and it's all about fonts. Careful with the fonts, right? When you're laying things out, and the fonts are important. And I was like, that's a very, very cool font for that 4. Who knew there was that much of a story behind it?
Yeah,
that's awesome. I love that.
Hey, before we get you out of here, I've been sitting here playing with this, just fiddling with this challenge coin here.
Right? You guys sent us, you sent us some swag along with the bottle.
And I have some familiarity with challenge coins, having worked for U.S. congressmen and driven in presidential motorcades and talked to some Secret Service guys. Where did the whole challenge coin thing start? Do you guys carry these, like your own branch challenge coins?
So, if I'm understanding the question correctly, like, are these ours, quote, proprietary to us?
No. I mean, the story of the challenge coins, how this kind of like people started carrying these around and using them and get people to buy them drinks in bars and stuff.
Oh, shit.
Just a generic.
Oh, yeah. Well,
the generic challenge coin.
I think our coins was, I think it was a piece, article that we wanted to have with our marketing, our merch, just because, military people love challenge coins.
Right.
Myself, I had a SEAL Team 1 coin back in the day. But we would, I don't wear it, because SEALs, we wore shorts and tank tops or whatever, right? I mean, we didn't wear a whole lot of, clothes. But the Army guys, the Special Forces guys we worked with, boy, they had them basically, they were wearing them underneath their G-Shocks.
Oh, wow.
So you go in a bar with those guys and they're going to dime you out all day long.
Yeah.
You got to be ready.
Well, the challenge coin history dates back to World War I.
Okay.
Is where it started. So it's been in existence within our armed services since the First World War. And it's grown to where if you don't have your coin slapped on the, it's become a drinking thing, like kind of a unit pride. Like, hey, mine's on the bar. Where's yours? Obviously, you're trying to get a free drink, and if they don't have it,
It's
They're
the
sorry for that
opposite of the
guy.
kind of
Oh,
coin
yeah.
you get in AA.
Yeah, it's different. It's
Yeah, but
It
like
fl-
not
flips the
everybody
switch.
not everybody
Flips the switch
knows
on
that the whole challenge coin thing. They just
I
think
love
these are little
that.
marketing gimmicks, but there was a history behind it.
yeah.
And now it's gone to like there's police departments that make them now, and they do stuff like that. And I think it was a CIA. I'm not CIA. It was a Secret Service guy prior to 9/11 that first told me about it. That I talked to. So it was a long time ago. Back when I was a young
You got to
staffer.
flash that at the bar now. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring it up.
This isn't going to
Yeah.
do me any good. As a municipal city clerk who runs elections, I don't get a challenge coin, guys.
It's advertising for the bourbon. That's all that counts.
Yeah, but that'll be around.
So you sent us a couple cocktail recipes too, and I do like short videos, and I'll make a cocktail, and I'm gonna do. Well, I'll do them both, but one is the Quiet Professional, and there's two reasons I love this. I love this.
Yep.
So for an ounce and a half or an ounce and a quarter of Four Branches Founders Blend, amaretto, and here's the thing: pure maple syrup. So instead of simple syrup, use
okay.
I love that in the cocktails. I love that you got that in. I love that in the cocktail. I'm going to do a thing. And then lemon twist, bitters, and a Luxardo cherry. They're deliberate about the Luxardo cherry.
It's got to be a Luxardo cherry.
It makes such a huge difference. It really does. So I'm going to do that one. I'll definitely do that one. And then I love the other one is just a Four Branches 4x4. Yeah. It's the Founders Blend on the rocks or not.
There you go.
You're having now. Hey, let me tell you with the Quiet Professional, right? For legal purposes, kind of like our disclaimer. Yeah, we had to put an ounce and a quarter. I'm going to tell you.
I usually go two.
Yeah.
2 ounces.
There you go. That's
Gotcha.
how I
2 ounces bourbon, 1 ounce Di Serrano. We use Di Serrano.
Yeah, that's the only one to use.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you get just a lot of sugar, really.
So I'm going to do that one. I'll do that one for sure. I'll share it out. I'll tag you guys in it.
It's kind of like an old fashioned with amaretto. Yeah. I've never had that.
Yeah.
It's our take.
I like it. I'm
good for you guys.
I'm excited about it. What else do we need to know about Four Branches? What's the website?
Fourbranches.com. www.fourbranches.com. Bring you right to it.
The word spelled out FOUR.
FOUR.
Yep.
All right.
Harold, why don't you tell them a little bit about the messaging, right, and the give back of why we're more than just a bourbon.
Yeah, I mean our messaging. You can see it on the bottle, right at the top of the bottle. The smaller label going around the top is serve honorably. Whether you've served in the military or you served as a police officer, or like Rick says a lot, everybody serves something, right? In their professional life or at church, wherever you serve. And then, we've all four served honorably. And then we also have drink honorably, not to replace drink responsibly, but we're just trying to raise the awareness of that because we still have the 22, suicides in the military, which is a very sad story. And I think more importantly, our ethos and, is we don't want you to drink to forget anymore. We want you to sip to remember. And this bourbon that we put in these bottles, these diamond bottles, is at the quality and the taste. You want to sip it, right? You don't want to, use this as a Jack and Coke or whatever. So, we want you to sip to remember, and not just to remember the ones that we've lost, the ones that didn't come home, but think about sipping to remember all the good times in life, celebrations, whether it's a promotion or a wedding or, someone having a grandchild. I mean, all of this stuff we need to do more of, right? We don't need to get locked away in, thinking about sipping to remember just the people that we've lost because, believe it, we think about them all the time. But we want to also add that we all have victories in our lives, and, we want to celebrate those as well.
Gentlemen, you need to trademark that phrase, by the way.
Yeah.
I love that.
We actually
It is.
have,
It's on the
Sip
sticker.
to
right there.
remember. That's amazing.
Sip to, yeah.
we actually have trademarked it. We've trademarked
Excellent.
it.
Good. I'm going to be using that every
They
time. I
wouldn't
do a
have put it
toast
on the
from now
bottle
on.
if they didn't trademark it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say quickly was that message that Harold's put out has helped raise in Harold, 20 months now, over $400,000 for veteran, military, first responder organizations that need it.
And mostly these big dollar amounts come in when we donate our bottles, and we have signed bottles. You have like a Folds of Honor event I was at in Florida. We had 15 bottles. And I asked all of the veterans that was at this dinner to rate the fundraiser at this gentleman's. This couple had a beautiful house on the water right there in Stuart, Florida. They had 4 tents set up. They had each service, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard was there as well. All of them had civilian chefs out in town come in and prepare the food, but each one of the services had an actual service member chef working at that location. So we had Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard. So I asked them all to come over, sign the bottles, and each one of the bottles was in a package where it was a $5,000 scholarship for students, and they all sold. So it was $75,000 raised right like that. So that's how we've been raising. We've hit over 400,000, and it's these events we go to. And we get up and tell the story. We sign these bottles, and a lot of times they go for big money. So
I love you guys. I just can't understate that at all. Chris, you were asking a question about the picture. Hold that up into the camera.
I see 4 in here. You 2 are represented. Who are the other 2? Are they involved in the company?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Who are the other? Who are the other 4?
2.
If you're looking at it, it's Harold and I, which you can see.
Yeah.
And then the next gentleman next to me is Mike Trott. He was in the Air Force Security Forces and a CIA officer. And then next to him is RJ, who we affectionately call our underachiever.
All right.
He started as a Green Beret, and then age 39 or 40, he took the Air Force Pararescue Jumper Selection, which is like the Air Force version of Buds.
Jeez.
Okay.
And he holds the record for passing it at that age. Still holds the record in the Air Force.
Well, he sounds like an underachiever.
Yeah, that is underachieving. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have 4. I guess there just isn't anyone with your resume in the Space Force that could have joined you, huh? For a 5th.
Yeah.
Well, here's our disclaimer. It's not political. It's, I guess, our I can't think of the right word for it right now, but we catch a little bit of grief from 2 of the other branches, right? So we say it just says 4 branches, guys, on the bottle. You pick your branch.
There you go.
That's it.
4 out of 6. There you go.
That's
my diplomatic answer. That's the one I was looking for.
Yeah, it's very diplomatic.
That's my diplomatic
political razzle dazzle. Guys, and as I'm sipping this, it's like it's getting better. It's because usually after the second or third sip, you're doing it. We're all doing it neat. We haven't tainted it,
put any water in it or anything like that.
And here you go. I don't know if you noticed while this was happening. I poured heavy when I poured my first one.
You did pour heavy.
August went in and he poured another. So
yeah, I did a little drab.
So I don't know if you noticed that happened while we were talking. He wanted a little bit more.
Learned,
that's a good sign.
We also learned that first sip and the second sip and the third sip are all going to be a little different.
Yeah.
We learned that. It's not our first whiskey tasting. So I'm glad that on the third sip and the second draw there, I still really enjoyed it.
And you needed more.
I needed more.
Well, we just ran number 2, right? We ran our second run. It was 2,500 cases. Then we just finished up our third run, which was 2,000, right? Or 3,000 more cases. And those are a little bit, of course, you're trying to split hairs when, we're standing there with Bardstown and they're blending this founder's blend for the second iteration and the third iteration.
Right. Trying to get out of the head.
We're looking at each other going, hey, hold on. One of them was not there, right? We're thinking, what in the world's going on? This is not founder's blend. And an older gentleman walked into the room and he goes, guys, this is what you're looking for. and he had like a 100 milliliter bottle, and he said, "This is we turned to tanks." So the first one we were drinking, that third iteration, it wasn't right. It just wasn't right. Then he came in with the ones after they turned the blend, they blended the stainless steel tank, and he walked in and said, "Taste this." And we tasted that and looked at each other and goes, "Okay, now we're back."
Now we're back on track.
August, pass it over.
Yeah, this is Chris is running out too. Oh,
It's good, guys. It is.
Yeah,
It's great. It's a great pour, right? I mean, we've won. Harold, I don't know if we told you or it just came in. So we won a double gold at the SIPS Award, which is a consumer award, right? That to me, that's really important because that means it's every day Joe and Jane are out there drinking it. They liked it. We won a gold at the Ascot Awards. We took silver at San Francisco, and we just took a gold at the Proof Awards, which is the Food and Beverage Magazine Award. We just got that the other day.
Yeah.
So,
did we cover the give back? Did we get everything about the give back? So whoever's watching is like, make sure you tell them about the give back, right? We covered that, right? Oh, here we go. We got it. We got there you go, gold and 94-point Proof Award.
That's Proof. Yep.
There you go. So they're watching.
Yes,
they're watching.
Your people are
commenting.
watching us.
That's good.
We should have known considering who we're talking to.
That's right.
Yeah. Like I said, we partnered with 3 official organizations, Folds of Honor, the Third Option Foundation, CIA Officers Memorial Foundation, but we've given back a lot more because we hit the Navy SEAL Legacy Foundation. We've hit just all the organizations that we as founders and as a company feel that we can give back to you. We feel like you're hitting the mark.
We were a logistics decision away from having my brother-in-law with us today, who works for Wounded Warriors out of Chicago. He's worked for Wounded Warriors for about 15 years now. So he was going to be here just for this tasting, but he's like, "No, I got to go see my folks." Damn it!
But
my favorite thing is the first comment that came in was, "Damn it, Harold."
It'll be the hot new shirt in 2025, everybody.
Yeah, looks like it.
So, but Harold, Rick, thank you guys for 1, the bottle, 2, your time, and 3, most importantly, your service. And then what you're doing with this, you're continuing just amazing work. So thank you guys. And just thanks for a great dram. This is brilliant.
Yeah, this is lovely. I like it. One of the better ones you've had on here that I've taken a second pour of.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll take that.
Yeah. No, and we go through some stuff.
So there you go. Man Cave Happy Hour. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, all those podcast things and all the podcast places. Gentlemen.
Rick, Harold, cheers to you guys.
Men in Black.
To everything you're doing.
Cheers.
Cheers, gents.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year,
guys.
Happy New Year.
For the time.
Cheers.